I'm curious, in your decision making, are you the sole person in making your decisions? Or are you making decisions by partnering with God? Hey there, this is your spiritual alignment coach and mentor, Courtney Browning. Welcome to another episode of Unhindered Woman. Are you ready for some hashtag real talk that will inspire and serve you, my performance-driven Christian sisters? A conversation that will deepen and personalize your relationship with God by revising the routine scripts you've been taught about Christianity. This is not to be a replacement for professional counseling and/or legal advice. Hey sis, grab your hot beverage of choice along with your journal and pen, and let's get into it. In the last episode, I had shared a quote that I think is so profound, and you could go really deep with it. Here it is. Awareness is key to obtaining wisdom. And in the last episode, I also had a question. There were several questions, right? that I asked in there. Yet the question that is coming to mind is, are you inviting God to partner with you in your decision making, in the day-to-day decisions? Are you aware of Him, acknowledging Him, and getting His take on every decision in the small things, so that when the big things come, you have enough confidence. That's how I'll put it. You'll have the confidence in knowing His leading. You'll have the confidence in knowing, yeah, this is God right here. He's the one leading me in this way, and I'm gonna do it. Are you doing that? I think it's so pivotal that as Christian leaders, we are doing that, right? I learned something that was so awesome this week about the word disciple. You can never stop learning in the things of God. There's just always a next level layer to something like the word disciple. Watch this. Disciple. Disciple means one who is a follower of Christ, or a follower who not only teaches but also lives what they teach. So let's put that in the context of us being Christians. We are followers of Jesus Christ, hence the word Christians, right? We are followers of Jesus Christ, and we teach what He has taught us to others. And capital A, capital N, capital D, we live out what we teach. If we are not living what we are teaching, we have a problem, and we are not a true disciple of Christ. I hope you did not hear perfection. I hope you did not hear performance driven. That's not what this is. It's simply stating, if we are proclaiming ourselves to be a Christian, we are also letting it be known that we are His followers, and we teach by how we live out our lives, and if necessary, we use words. That's good. So good. So, as a disciple of Christ, we would have to look at how He went about decision making. Jesus went about decision making by spending time with God, getting alone with God, being with Him, getting direction from Him, and then following through on every decision or direction, the guidance of God. He would follow through on what He was told, right? Jesus says it all the time throughout the Word. Father, I have done as you have said. So, I wanted to share my own personal circumstance that has happened within this year that I'm still walking out. And thank you, Nendi, my dear friend and client, for just really igniting this particular topic, because I was not aware that this would totally be a great example of what it is to partner with God in decision making, and how it could really come down to a detrimental situation, even though it seems like it can be so menial and small and minute in just making the decision. And as I was talking with her, I, was just sharing like I do. And she just said, "Oh my God, that would be such a great podcast to share with your audience." And I was like, "Oh, that's so true. I'm going to do it." So here we are. So earlier this year, I had shared with you how I was just in the midst of fasting and praying and really seeking God's direction on this huge, for me, decision in regards to my business. And I was at a state where I really was simply asking God, "Lord, here's where I am in business. Is this it? And is it a new chapter and a new phase of life where it's time for me to move on and go into something different?" I'm wide open. Remember, last episode I said, are you at the place where you are willing to lay on the table your calling, whether it's business, whether it's ministry, whatever? Are you willing to put it on the table and allow God to put his finger on it and say whatever it is that he wants to say, even if that means it's time to let that go? A lot of us are not. And so here I was, okay, Lord, it's on the table. Whatever your direction is, I say yes. Right? That's something that God so loves and can work with, is a heart that is willing to trust his lead, surrender its own ideas and motives and passions to whatever it is that he says. That isn't something that comes overnight, because it is built on trust. It is built on a track record with God. And so I love that he's so kind and so merciful that he really wants to work with us in small things, so that when big things like this come up, it's not so hard to do and it's not so hard to navigate if it's him. So here I was at this place of, Lord, here's the business. It's on the table. And I was in the midst of the fast, as well as really spending some extra time with God. When you're fasting, you should have, that set apart time of fasting is really to set apart more time with him. And so that's what I did. And while I was in that set apart time with him, I was really just praying and worshiping and just saying, "Lord, I need your direction here." And it's so interesting, because sometimes we really would love for God to just speak. Can I get an amen? And God did not do that for me in this particular situation, at least not up front. I didn't have a prompting. I didn't have a piece about, this is what we're going to do and this is where you need to go. None of that. It was just kind of like, hello, 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 hello. God, are you there? It was that kind of a moment for me. And so I continued to pray, and as I was doing that, I happened to be scrolling on Facebook and, answering some things, posting in my Facebook group, doing all the things that I knew to do in that chapter. And I had pulled back from showing up live in any way, shape, or form in any of my social veins that I'm in. And so I'm sitting there and I'm scrolling and I see this event that's coming up. And so I look at it and it looks all right. Looks interesting. I'll sign up for it. So I signed up for it. I attended it in every day. And I actually went the extra level and went into the VIP group. And I gotta be honest with you, that entire time I felt like, God, are you even listening to my request here? Is this fast that I'm in vain, or is it going to produce anything? Am I going to have clarity, right? As leaders, one of the challenges that we face and sometimes really struggle with, y'all know I'm not a fan of that word. However, it is a real thing. I recognize that. Is, do I really know God's leading? Am I confident in his leading? Do I have clear direction here? And so here I was in one of those moments. the thing that I had that was so beautiful is I had confidence that no matter how I feel and no matter what it looks like, I have enough of a track record with God to know He's going to show me His will because He loves me too much and He wants me to succeed. Like, He's so much more concerned about my success than I ever will be. And so I knew that God would answer. The challenge, the struggle, the struggle is real, y'all, was how? How is He going to answer? In what way is He going to answer? Like, that is so challenging, right? You just, because you would love for God to do it in a specific way. You think it out and you think, yeah, this is how God's going to answer it. And I don't know about you, every time I do that, pretty much doesn't work out that way. It is completely different. And I can't even use past situations to determine that He's going to answer just like last time, or He's going to answer like He did 5 years ago or 10 years ago. No, He is always answering completely different and unique in the situation that is in front of me current. So, of course, this was no different. So as I am attending this event, I'm in the VIP room. Listen, I saw some things that as I was in the VIP room, just, we were sitting on breaks, and I would see some things scroll across, and I thought, oh no, I don't want any part of this. I don't want to do this. Nope, I'm not interested. I'm good. Listen, remember I said that in decision making, a lot of times motives of the heart will arise. Well, one of the things that arose in the midst of that, and I'm going to be honest with you, I wasn't even sure that this was a God thing, that I was even attending this event. I was just doing it because at least it was in the vein of business and maybe I'll learn something new. That's it. I wasn't thinking I was going to join. I wasn't thinking anywhere in that vicinity. I was just thinking I'm going to learn something and I'll keep it moving. Little did I know it was going to expose some things to me that were new to me. One of them was, as I was sitting there watching, and we were in a bit of a break, and they had some things scrolling on the screen, I saw a statement that was from a person that I am familiar with. And if you haven't heard me say this, I think I have, but just in case I haven't, one of my concerns for those of us that are Christians in the marketplace, and we are marketing ourselves in that way, that I am a Christian, one of my concerns has been, are we living examples on the streets of social media to where people don't have to question the validity of us professing ourselves to be Christians? And that has been a great concern for me. I have been heartbroken to see some of the examples that have been on the streets of social media, because there are some conflicting behaviors and actions of those in the marketplace that are professed to be Christians. And so it just was a concern for me. So one of my requests of God for the past 5 years was, Lord, I would love an arena where I can be held accountable to live out not just being a person of integrity and godly character in my business. I want to be held accountable for my behavior. I want to be held accountable for what I'm saying. And Lord, I would love for there to be a room. I would love for there to be a group that I can be a part of, that is actually a thing. That was one of my things. And so as I was looking at this statement that was put up in the scroll, I saw the person that had put the statement in there, and I thought, don't think I want to do this, because there were some behaviors and some patterns that I had seen that I thought, I'm good on this. And I'm just going to not engage this. Well, so I go on lunch, I grab a bite to eat, and God says, uh, not every child that belongs to a parent represents their parent well. And I'm like, whoa, that's profound. And then he says, not every member in the church represents their pastors well. Now he had my attention. And then he says, not every single one of my children represent me well. So do not base your decision on what you see because of who said the statement that you read. Could it be that they aren't representing the person who is facilitating this event well, and yet what is being offered to you in this event is wholesome and led by me and good? Y'all, it was a 3-day event. That was day 2. Talk about rocking my boat. Talk about God unveiling to me lack of character and being quick to judge. Lord Jesus. See how pivotal it is that we really acknowledge God throughout the day, all day. Like, this is relationship here. This is relationship. And so I'm sitting there eating my lunch and some humble pie. I didn't even have dessert because that was enough. Thank you very much. And I said, okay, Lord, I'm sorry. I stand corrected. And I share, it just so happens that my pastor, had reached out to me to have a phone call. Pastor Nicole, I love my pastor. She's such a gift to me. And I shared with her that, hey, I'm in the midst of this decision making, and this is a huge, huge, huge decision for me. It's going to be huge financially for the business. It's going to be a major sacrifice and investment of my time. And I know without question, it is going to upend a lot of my thinking and add some thinking that I have never had before. And so as it stands, all things really are looking that this is God. And so I want to share with you something that God said to me. And so I shared with her that, what God had said as far as not all of my children represent me well. And before I could even say to her the statement that he said as far as not everyone in the church represents their pastors well, she said, And then she gave me more input on that. And so I told her, I said, well, I was definitely made to stand correct. And so I'm humbling myself and still have it on the table for God to let me know what his heart is in regards to this. Okay, so fast forward past that. Now I'm in this place of, I'm at the end of the event. I've gone to all the VIP rooms, and I see at the end of it that there is an actual degree program that is an accredited program, an internationally accredited program. If you know my story, I'll make it quick. You are listening to a young woman who dropped out of high school, lived on the streets, went from home to home. I've lived in over 30 different places. I've had to move over 30 different times. Some of those moves have been great. Most of those moves were traumatic. I dropped out of high school, and to be honest with you, it was never, it was on my radar to go to school when I was, I think 25, and I thought about it, went to sign up and didn't follow through. After that, it was nowhere on my radar for school. Now remember the statement I said last podcast. Awareness is key. to obtaining wisdom. I'm sitting there, and at the end of this event, I see that it's internationally accredited, so I wouldn't have to worry about where I'm at in the world. My degree, will stand as credible. And so I leave that room, I turn my camera off, and I sit in my office, and there is this desire that was awakened. And I said, God, this is so strange to me. I've gone most of my life not caring about a degree. In fact, you have put me in rooms where it would be assumed that I would have a degree. My first business venture where I received a paycheck. Y'all, listen. I was asked to speak at as a keynote for some high school students who had just finished who had just finished a pre-college degree course. I was asked to be their keynote speaker. And I'm standing there looking at them thinking, I have never gone to college. I'm a high school dropout that decided to go back 3 years after she dropped out to get her diploma. These people are asking me to speak at a college for some graduating students. I don't have a college degree. Okay, for context. So I am all of a sudden realizing there is a hunger that has been awakened in me, a deep-seated desire that is craving, and it is craving a degree. I cried my eyes out for a good 15 minutes, and I said, God, this is so strange to me. I have never had this before. What is this? What is going on here? Because I was aware of my need for God and that there had to be a shift coming in regards to my business, it gave room for wisdom to speak. The word references God as wisdom. A lot of people like to quote, in all of your getting an understanding. And, wisdom, we don't realize that really what we're saying when we say wisdom is that we are getting direction on how to use and what to do with what we know. If we really want the wisdom that is above all, then we need to get that from God, because He knows. And so here I am in this awareness, and I said, God, you got to speak to this, because this is so strange. It feels so foreign to me, and yet it feels so real at the same time. And when I say feel, let me clarify something there. I'm not talking about in my emotions. I had it in my heart. This is for me. There's such a difference, because if we are led by emotions and we're not led by the Holy Spirit who lives within our heart, we can make decisions that could hurt us. It was in my heart. Lord, this is registering as this is what you want me to do. And I'm just so, what? Because you've done what you've done already in my business without me having a degree. Why now? All the questions, right? Well, fast forward. Let me tell you, at this point of having recorded this particular podcast, I obeyed God and signed up for the program. And I've been in it 7 weeks. When I tell you that I have been put in an accelerated state spiritually, that I haven't been visible in my on all streets social, right? All the social things that I have. I haven't been visible, meaning on camera. I have been consistent in posting, consistent in engaging with those that are in my Facebook group and on Instagram. Like, there's been consistency there. And that's it. Y'all, God has blessed me with clients in the interim. See, there's something about when you follow God, there's always fruit. It doesn't take away challenges. In fact, when you say yes to God, expect challenges to increase. Sorry. I know y'all don't like to hear that. Nor do I like to say it. So I'm with you in that. And yet, whenever you say yes to God, opposition will come. And they come through challenges. They come through circumstances. And unfortunately, they come through people. However, wherever God leads, he provides. And there is, as I have learned, this phrase, I love it. There's a Holy Ghost ease. And so I have had such an ease. And let me give you just a little bit of information on what this looks like for me. This is where I will be acquiring 3 different degrees: associate level, bachelor level, and master level. Simultaneously, I am doing all 3. As well as this is assisting me in learning some things about business that I've never known. And as I am going through it, I am learning so much. And I actually had such a beautiful affirmation take place today, where I was told, as I showed up for the second time in my Facebook group since the beginning of the year, I showed up this past Wednesday, and I was told, wow, there's a new freedom that I listened and saw on you in that. And I just was so tickled. And please, sorry for the noise if you heard that. That was my phone bumping my microphone. I was so tickled in hearing that, because it affirmed and confirmed the freedom that I have been experiencing. That is what comes with. That's just such a minute picture of what comes with partnering with God in our day-to-day life and allowing him to speak into decisions that we're going to make in our day-to-day. That's just a glimpse. I have had so much joy. I have had so much peace, and it has come with opposition. And yet, it's so cool when not only you know that you are following the way of God, it's just extra bonus. It's like the cherry on top when you have others begin to verbally speak the affirmation, not even knowing what they're speaking to. So cool. So, I'm going to end with this. Friend, are you actively engaging God in your everyday decision-making process? If you're not, please consider beginning today. Talk with you soon. Thank you so much for joining me in this episode of Unhindered Woman. My hope is that you feel seen, known, and loved by God. This podcast is here to serve and inspire you. To explore more on how to work with me, find out what I'm up to, and where you can find me on social media, head on over to www.courtneybrowning.com. And by the way, there's no U in my first name. I'd love and appreciate it if you give me a quick review in this app that you're listening in through. Don't forget to subscribe to this podcast if you haven't already. Talk with you soon, and bye-bye for now.